Hi, welcome to Warricks WanderWorks. I'm Tom.
And I'm Rhonda, and we're going to talk to you today about some of our adventures in Willams, Arizona. Starting with, well, we may not start with this, but eventually we'll get to me being taken hostage at gunpoint.
We'll talk about some of the things to do and places to stay.
So where we stayed, maybe some of the other places that we've seen that you can stay, and we might show you a little bit about each of those things.
And then lastly, we'll talk to you about a bit of an medical emergency we have with our dog Stoney.
Yeah, that was
It was something.
that was fun. He's still recovering, but he is okay. So
He's good.
I'm gonna go ahead and spoil that right now. Yeah,
He's as good as he ever was.
Yeah, but it definitely impacted like a travel day, made the weekend pretty stressful.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk more about that.
So first, let's talk about where we stayed and why we stay there. So we chose, after we stayed in Camp Verde, Arizona, we chose to go a little bit further north to stay in Willams, Arizona. And Willams was chosen because it's still fairly close to Phoenix. It's within a couple hours. So if we had any issues, our dealer was close by. And it's a bit cooler than Camp Verde, which we were looking forward to. And there was quite a bit to do and see there.
Yeah, so it was already May and it was getting hot. And the Camp Verde stay was basically our shakedown trip. So we had just picked up our rig Saturday, May 1st. Went to Camp Verde for a week, and it was great that we were there because we did have some issues and we actually had to have a dealer bring some things out to us while we were in Camp Verde, like our power cord. That was important.
Oops.
Yeah, so we got that. But we had planned to go to Willams after that because it was still only about 2 hours down the interstate to Phoenix, but it was much cooler. So Willams, Arizona is, I don't know, what, 7,500 feet elevation?
Yeah.
Maybe 7,000? I don't know exactly, but it's up there, so it's nice. So even when it's hot down in the desert in Arizona, Willams is beautiful, beautiful temperatures.
And it's 30 minutes to Flagstaff, which is a pretty major city. So everything you could need, you can get there from, Walmarts to grocery stores to emergency veterinary hospitals.
Which we found out that we needed. Yeah.
And still within driving distance to some really popular tourist spots here in Arizona, including the Grand Canyon, which we'll talk about a little bit more later.
Yep.
Sedona, which was just not even about an hour away.
Yeah, hour away.
So we went to Sedona one day, met some friends for a late breakfast. What else is close by?
So lots of hiking, lots of lakes. If you love the outdoors, this is a great place to be. A lot of motorcyclists come through here. So we don't ride motorcycles, but we know a lot of people do. There's a lot of motorcyclists that come through. And then just Willams, the downtown area of Willams, it's kind of touristy and kitschy, but it's fun. A lot of neat places to eat and hang out, grab a drink, do some shopping. So it's a cool little town. We definitely recommend it.
Yeah, so downtown Willams is on historic Route 66. So lots of Route 66 memorabilia to pick up there, which is really cool. And the Grand Canyon Railway is right there in Willams. So our campground was right next to the railway that took everyone up and back to the Grand Canyon every day. So that was kind of neat to be near a railroad. I know some people who visit and stay in campgrounds near there have a bit of an issue with the railroads and the
well, I would say if you have an issue with railroads, you don't want to be in Willams.
No.
Because you hear it all, several times throughout the day. We were never bothered by it. I think there was maybe one train that would come through about 10:30 at night, not associated with the Grand Canyon Railway, more like the Santa Fe line, which is just a regular railroad line. And we would hear it, and we would go to sleep. It was not a big deal.
It's kind of nostalgic to hear.
Yeah, it was cool.
To hear the railroad.
It was awesome. It had a whole Western vibe. It was pretty cool.
So Willams is a neat place. We'd recommend coming and checking it out. Stay a few extra days so you can go up to the Grand Canyon either via the railroad or drive up. Flagstaff is a really neat little kind of mountain / college town.
Yeah.
Right? Rhonda attended college there.
A whole semester.
And then Sedona's nearby. And if you haven't been to Sedona and Oak Creek, that's a must see when you're in Arizona.
Yeah, definitely. So places to eat. We actually visited a few places to eat in Williams. I think we really enjoyed the Route 66 Cafe. So it's right on a corner, right on historic Route 66. Every evening they had live music, and the night that we were there, the music was great. We actually very much enjoyed the entertainer who was there. I'm not sure what his name was or his like handle or anything, but he did a lot of what I would consider like road trip type of music. It was pretty cool. A lot of stuff from the 70s, 80s. It was great, and the food was really good. The food was, they had a smoker there, they had barbecue, they had burgers, they had a little kind of ice cream station that was really good. I think we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it a lot. We were able to take our dog, we sat on the patio. It was awesome.
So we also got to go to the Grand Canyon Brewery, which is part of the Grand Canyon Railroad there. It's kind of a big, hotel, say, center that's there. And that's a great place too. It's really, really unique inside, really cool inside.
Yeah, and they have a distillery there, which is like right up our alley. We enjoyed that very much. Lots of different things to try, samplers and flights and that kind of thing.
We also found a great little coffee shop that was called
Brewed Awakenings.
Brewed Awakenings.
Yeah. Coffee was great, but honestly, their breakfast burritos were freaking awesome.
Yeah, we had those a couple times. Really, really good.
Yeah, so a great day is to get up, go to Brewed Awakenings, grab your coffee, grab your breakfast burrito, and head to the Grand Canyon. Eat your burrito on the way.
And the other place that we ate that was great, which was we took an afternoon. Rhonda got done with work early, and we took an afternoon to go over to the Pine Country Cafe.
Oh, yes.
Which we recommended from
John and Carol.
John and Carol.
Yep.
And we went over there in the afternoon and had a slice of pie.
Yeah.
They've got probably the largest selection of pies I've ever seen.
Yeah, and they were amazing.
They were really good.
Yeah, so we had, 3 o'clock pie. It was like afternoon tea. It was afternoon pie. And instead, hello, neighbor. That was pretty much dinner. I'm not sure we ate dinner after that. We didn't need dinner. I had a Dutch cherry pie. What did you have?
I had the pecan.
The pecan pie. Oh my gosh.
Really good.
Yeah, they were really good. Definitely Pine. What's it called? Pine Country.
Pine Country Cafe.
Pine Country Cafe or Pine Country Restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll put it in the video.
Yep. So when you're visiting Williams, there are plenty of places to stay, right? Lots of hotels. Some of the brand name hotels. We haven't stayed in any of the hotels. But if you're coming to Williams and you're going to stay in a hotel, you're probably going to be coming to go to the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon Railway has a hotel. It's right by the station. Their little grounds look really cool. They've got an area for a gunfight that happens there sometimes. More on that later.
Yeah.
But that's a place I think you'd probably want to look at.
Yeah, and there's lots of RV campgrounds in the area. So we stayed in a place called Railside RV Ranch. We have a whole separate video trailer on that where you can see all kinds of footage of that campground. And in the description of the video, I've got all of the amenities listed, what they have and don't have. So take a look at that if you want to learn more about that campground. We enjoyed our stay there, but we will say in terms of site size, it was a little tight.
Yeah, it's a pretty tight
for us, but luckily we had great neighbors. That's where we met John and Carol, so that all worked out. But lots of other RV campgrounds. There's a place called Canyon RV, which is on the I-40, just kind of up from where we were. All of them are pretty close. There's the Grand Canyon Railway Campground, which is right next to the railway. So if you think you might have an issue with railroad noise, I would not stay there. But it was really cool because you could be walking distance from everything downtown. And in fact, where we stayed was also walking distance if you don't mind walking, maybe a mile? Maybe a mile from our campground, to downtown. So not bad if you don't mind that kind of a walk. Certainly bikeable as well. And then there's a couple of KOAs in the area. They're not real close to Williams. They're a little outside. You can see it right on I-40 as you're driving, between Williams and Flagstaff. One of them you can see anyway. Looks like really kid-friendly stuff there. They had like a go-kart track. They had I don't even know what you call it, but this big bouncy thing, like a big balloon kind of thing that the kids could jump on, and then you could see all kinds of RV sites back into the woods. It looked really, really nice. But we chose Railside RV. I chose it, actually. I made the reservation because it was less expensive than the rest. So The other campgrounds were easily, I would say, 30 to 40% more per night than Railside RV, and I feel like we got a pretty good rate at Railside, especially given, you know, how much we ended up enjoying the campground.
Yeah, and the staff was great there. Yeah,
yes,
we'll link to the video in the description.
Yeah.
There's also national forests nearby, so there's some boondocking available, kind of between Willams and the Grand Canyon. There were some spots available. I know.
We also looked at the Kaibab campground, which is near Kaibab Lake, which is just 5 minutes from Willams, but it's on the road as you head toward the Grand Canyon. And normally, so we're in a 45-foot toy hauler, so we just typically don't even look at National Forest campgrounds because we're usually too big. But we drove through that campground, and there were lots of sites we could have gotten into at that particular campground, and it's right on a lake, and it's beautiful, and it's wooded. So, you know, if you like to get out a little further from civilization and feel like you're kind of out in the country a little bit, out in the outdoors, Kaibab campground near Kaibab Lake would be a great place to stay.
So Rhonda mentioned that the Railside RV campground was, you know, good location, great price, but there were a lot of things we liked about the campground in addition to the price.
Yeah, well, we had great neighbors. We talked about John and Carol. There was just a lot of social activity, which was kind of cool. Like, later we'll talk about where we are right now, where there's like zero social activity. So it was a very different vibe. It was fun and it was social, and even though it was kind of tight, we had a site that he couldn't even pull forward out of. It was a pull through site, but he had to back out of it because there was a pole and there was a fence, and it was just kind of tight. But it had a great little doggy park that Stoney loved, the little Doggy Doo Ranch. There was a pet wash, like an indoor, you know, like what you would see in a grooming place.
Yeah, I watched Stoney there one day. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so that was there. They had a gym, which I used. You know, I'm not a huge gym person, but I liked having it. There were other things that weren't quite open yet because of COVID. So they definitely had 2 hot tubs. They had like a spa area. Those weren't open yet, but they had an outdoor fire pit. And
they had a little putt-putt course for kids.
Exactly, a little basketball court. Yeah, a little playground.
They had they had propane on site, which is really convenient for a lot of people.
Yeah, and ice.
Propane. Yeah,
and ice. And ice, and it's also, I guess more and more campgrounds are like this, but it's also one of those campgrounds where you can receive packages. They don't have a problem with it. They have a whole little system for making sure that you get your mail and your packages while you're there. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So I'll cover a couple of things that I didn't like about the campground. And honestly, it wasn't the campgrounds per se. But like I mentioned before, it was really windy. And I think it's maybe just a spring thing in this area of the state. But we had one night, what was it, up to 60 mile an hour wind gusts?
Yeah.
Just crazy, cray wind.
Camper was rocking.
Yeah, but every day it was pretty windy. I would say 20 mile an hour gusts standard. But some days up to 40, 50, even 60 miles an hour. So that was a little hard to deal with when you just wanted to get outside and go do things, because otherwise the weather was beautiful. And then we had a brand new rig, of course, and with all of this wind, the campground had all these beautiful cottonwood trees, but cottonwoods are called cottonwoods because of the cotton. And turns out the cotton comes out right as it's windy, and so
snowstorms.
It was like snowing sideways cotton in the campground, and it got everywhere. It was inside the camper, it was outside the camper. It's still on all of our window screens, and we have to figure out how to clean those things. So not the campground's fault necessarily, just, you know, circumstance of being there at the right time, I guess is what you would say.
Right time.
At the right time, yeah. But I think that was it. I mean, that's pretty minor stuff. So one of the reasons we really recommend Railside RV, even though, you know, a couple of the negatives that we mentioned, small sites and, you know, a certain time of the year, the cottonwood trees, not a big deal, really.
A little windy.
A little windy certain time of year, is because of the management. So, you know, they had typical campground rules, which they appeared to adhere to. We didn't have problems with anybody breaking the rules. And when we first checked in, we had a little bit of an issue with our check-in because our little packet wasn't there, whatever. It's not a big deal. But the owner was doing contactless check-in. But when we had the issue, she actually came down and helped us out with it, let us know what we were supposed to do. Her name is Tamara. And turns out that campground has been in her and her husband's family for 30 years. So they've been doing this a long time, not their first rodeo. And what we really liked about them was we had a vet emergency while we were at the campground. We kind of alluded to this before. And the vet emergency happened the evening before we were supposed to leave. So we were supposed to check out of the campground and go to the next place. And we had a vet emergency. And Tamara was really, really great about working with us.
So Stoney, you know, kind of early evening on a walk, we think he got into something. We didn't see what it was, but all of a sudden he started wanting to eat grass, like
He had an upset tummy.
a lot of grass. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't pull him away from trying to
Like
eat
a
grass.
John Deere tractor, like there was no tomorrow.
So
eating grass.
he ate some grass, and we knew he probably had an upset stomach. He ate some grass and he threw it up, which we expected, and we thought that was great. But then he continued to eat grass, and this is getting fairly late now. It's you know, probably 9, 10,
9 o'clock, probably 9 o'clock. Yeah.
and he's eating grass. He's not throwing up, and he was eating grass for a long time.
Yeah.
So the nearest emergency vet was in Flagstaff. We said, you know, Flagstaff had a lot of services. They have an emergency vet, so we gave him a call and told him what was happening. And they suggested that we bring him in. So that vet thought that maybe there was some type of obstruction in his stomach that was causing an issue. So they wanted to keep him overnight and do some x-rays, which they did. That's when the doctor recommended going in, doing surgery and going in and seeing what was going on.
His digestive system basically has shut down. So nothing was moving. They had him on nausea medication. They had him on an IV drip because they said he was severely dehydrated, and nothing was moving in his whole like GI tract. So we made the decision to go ahead and have the doctor do surgery the following morning, which was Sunday morning. So Saturday morning, we're still like, oh, we don't know what's going on. So we called Tamara at the campground and we said, you know what, we're not sure what we're going to do here. We're not sure we're going to be leaving town. Do you have a place for us? And she was booked. She was booked solid, but she said she keeps 1 or 2 sites available. They don't have all the amenities, they don't have full hookups, but she keeps those 2 sites available for just this type of thing. But we were able to stay there, and then I had to call the campground we were going to and let them know, hey, we're not going to arrive, but please keep our reservation because we will be there on some day. We just weren't sure when. So he had the surgery, and the doctor actually called us during the surgery. This doctor was great.
He was fantastic.
God, I wish I could remember his name. We'll definitely post information about the vet office and this doctor in Flagstaff because he was great.
They found a large amount of grass.
Yeah, more grass.
Like a very large ball of grass.
Like a softball size ball. Yeah.
And he actually videotaped that and shared that with us later. But he also, the reason he called was that he said that while he was in, he noticed that Stoney's spleen was severely enlarged. Now, dogs when having surgery, their spleens can get enlarged. That's common.
Due to the anesthesia, I think is what he said, yeah.
But his was severely enlarged. And the doctor was, concerned that it was cancerous, right? It could have been cancerous. So he gave us the option to have the spleen removed while he was in there, and we discussed it with him further, and it seemed like the right thing to do at the time while we were in. So we had him remove it, and they're sending it off for testing. We haven't gotten results back yet, but we'll keep you posted on that. And then Monday morning, we called. We called, and the vet said that Stoney was doing great.
He said it was a different dog. He said it was like he was doing fantastic. It was like the quickest recovery he'd ever seen from a surgery like this. Now, mind you, he has an incision which is like 8 or 9 inches long. He's got 27 staples in this incision. But the good news is that the whatever the blockage was, it was in his stomach and not his intestines, which I think is a much more serious surgery. Took his spleen out. He's recovering fine. And as long as, he was able to start eating and go to the bathroom, we were able to take him. So we were able to actually take him on Monday, which was the Memorial Day weekend, which was good. That was a holiday. And I was able to call the campground we were going to and say, okay, we've got our dog, we're on our way. We just took it slow that day on that moving day. So
yeah,
it was
stopped a lot.
Yeah, it was normally I think about a 5.5 to 6 hour drive. We took more like 9 hours to make the drive because I think we stopped about every hour 15, every 90 minutes just to let Stoney get out and use the potty and get some water and stretch his legs. And it was a long day, but everything turned out. It was great.
Yeah, it did work out. It worked out really, really well, and he's doing great. We'll keep you updated. We'll post a couple pictures of him in this video, so you'll see how he's doing.
So watch our full video campground trailer, our little short movie trailer about the Railside RV Ranch. Again, Tamara's a great host. You should definitely check it out if you're ever going to be in the Willams area or on Route 66. And check out that campground.
Yeah, and if you like the video, we'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos about our adventure and our journey and how, why we're here, how we got started, how we made the decision to do this, please click the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video. Yep.
Thanks for following along. Hey, leave it.
Hey, no barking.
Leave it.
I'm sure that'll be an earthquake.
He's gonna be walking all over. The camera's gonna be shaking.
Go lay down. Stoney, go lay down.
Are we already filming?
Yep.
Oh. Okay, well, go ahead. Got an itchy nose. Truck coming.
Oh. We got some deer.
We got some deer? What is it?
I don't know, maybe.
What do you got, puppy?
Stoney.
You don't see nothing.
No.
What do you see, buddy?
Hi.
Let's roll the intro.
We don't have an intro.
Oh, yeah. We don't have an intro.
Okay, real easy. So on the count of 3, these two dummies are gonna draw fire, and whoever knocks down their tourist first is the winner. No! Hey, what are you doing? Not this one.
I'm shooting my tourists.
No. That one. It's not very sport. It's not very sport to shoot her.
No, that one.
Now, what's her
You gotta
name
shoot that one.
Rhonda. Not Rhonda. Don't shoot Rhonda.
Okay, so who's that one?
Well, I don't know, but not Rhonda. Shoot not Rhonda. Where are you from?
Now you gotta shoot the one down there. Hey! What's your name?
These ones and those ones are so different.
What's your name?
Kelly,
Shoot
Where are
Kelly.
you from, Kelly?
Massachusetts.
I can't shoot in Massachusetts.
Trying to get it all laid out there.
We're good.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready to do this.
Okay.
What do I do now?
You gonna count 3?
Count to 3. All the way to 3?
Yeah.
I like trees.
Folks, don't. You've been watching those horses.
Stop it.
All right, folks. We're gonna need a little bit of help. Can you give us a count? Can you help us count to 3? Yeah. Think you can do that for us? Okay. All right, we gotta go. All right, on the count of 3, folks.
Okay, you ready?
1, 2, 3. What? JW, what?
Folks,
KW,
now if any of you happen to object to loud noises, now would be a really good time to put your fingers
Yeah, I
in
might get a little out of here. You might want Sam, not you. You got something to knock it out. You got to use the gun. You got to have your trigger finger empty.
I don't like loud noises.
You are a loud noise. Get back over there and do your job.
Cover your ears.
Okay. Are we good? All right, let's try this one more time, folks. All right, on the count of 3. 3. 1, 2. Wait. Hold on.
Now what?
What now? Well, I don't know about you, JW, but you might want to get out of the way.
Get out of
Okay. I think we're better now. Yeah. All right.
Hey!
All right, ready, folks? Stay. All right, count 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Sam! What? I guess we ain't half as stupid as they thought we were.
Hey, guess what? Hey, Carl!
What?
What are you gonna do with your half of the money we both dug up?
I'm gonna take my tourist out to dinner.
Me too!